And welcome back to the R.N.R podcast, Research Not Required. It's your boy Siyum and Isaac. We had back-to-back guests, and now we're down a host.
Yeah. We planned to have a guest on, but we weren't able to. What are we going to get into today?
Not even sure, man.
Let's talk about Jon Jones.
Before even that, let's talk about our situation, that we're the only two people stuck here for spring break.
Yeah.
Man.
I tend to stay on campus during breaks anyway. Or I would go home and then come back early because I just don't like the feeling of not doing anything during break. Like I like to be productive doing something rather than just sitting at home with family just bored.
I don't think you could be productive from home?
No, not at all. Absolutely not.
Really?
Not in a Habesha household. Nope.
Okay.
There's always constant guests. There's, bombardment of questions.
Always something to be done.
Yeah, there's chores to be done. There's constant distraction. But here on campus, it's you, yourself, your work, whatever you want to do. And it's kind of like a refresher. I don't know.
Okay.
How about you?
I can agree with that. I'm sure if I was to go home, my time would not be solely mine. I would be told to do this, that, or the other, and it's not even them being ordered around. Just the fact that there's like work to be done at home.
Yeah.
Here, it's kind of you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like to, I like being in environments where I'm growing, like I'm constantly growing, where I know that I'm progressing whatever I want to do, or at least I'm seeking information to progress. But all right, since we don't have anything to start with, then I'll start with this. I was recently watching a documentary, and I found out that Elon Musk did not discover Tesla.
Who discovered Tesla?
These two guys, I forget their names, but I'm trying to remember their names. But they had a plan. It was in college. They created these little tablets that can read. They're like little nooks. Or have you ever seen the Amazon Fire tablets? The really old ones.
Yeah.
They created those, and they had their own company, and their company got bought out for, I think, $187 million. But
what did you say their names was?
I forget their names. I can Google it right now.
Is it Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning?
Yeah, Tarpenning and Martin. Yeah, they're the ones that found it. And they had this crazy idea of creating electric cars. So what they did was they partnered up with AP Productions or AC Productions. It's a production company that produces cars. And then they later they're like, hey, you know what? We were trying to make this electric car. They had a hard time getting off the ground. They contacted Lotus. I mean, of course, I'm just like skimming over this because there was like hours and hours of bombarding Lotus to get that whole thing set up. And there was a whole bunch of complexity in that whole process. But to sum it all up, they found Tesla. And then Elon Musk came in, invested a whole lot of money, really improved Tesla by a lot, made it what it is today, and kind of lowballed Martin as CEO. He put him as operations as technology or something, and then he stepped down and later sued Tesla or Elon Musk. I think it was Elon Musk, because he said that Elon Musk was trying to rewrite history, which he successfully did. Yep. But Elon Musk countersued, and Elon Musk won. Now everything is history. Tesla is what it is today, which I was fascinated by. I was like, God dang. But
it sucks when you get into like the nitty gritty details and you start seeing people suing over this, that, and the other.
Yeah, but I mean, I still have the same amount of respect for Elon Musk. I still like him as a person, given the fact I respect the man who's able to get something and make it better and make it widespread, even if he's not the original founder. I respect someone that's able to commercialize things. Like if Drake finds a new artist or a new sound, he makes his own version of a song. People might say he's a culture vulture, but he was able to reimagine it, redesign it, and make it, so popular. Now, part of that is probably due to his own success, but Elon Musk came off the success of PayPal, so he was able to redesign Tesla, make it something
PayPal
amazing.
His? What do you mean? Like
I think he owns
PayPal
shares.
Success wasn't
So
he somehow involved in the creation or like rise of PayPal?
yeah, he was. I think he was directed. Yeah, I think he was directly involved. But what I'm saying is, he had already a popular. He already had a popular like successful footing, and then he ventured into Tesla. That's what I mean by people coming into something, reimagining it and doing it better. I have more respect for those people than the founders. Because if you find something, or you discover something, or you create something, it's cool and all, but it's not like it can only go so far. There's like a limited reach, and now if someone hops on board and just explodes it further than it's ever been, and makes it something so like dominant, then yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, that definitely requires skill and also for it, but I can also understand that when for example, the Drake example that you gave, it requires a certain amount of skill and knowledge to create something from scratch versus when you already are as big as Drake and have the influence and power that Drake has. It's easier to I think.
Do you think it's
I don't think it's easy, but I think it's easier to find cool beats in the culture versus creating one.
See, this is where I disagree. I think the people that hop on board and reimagine it, right, are better. Like, I feel like that's harder than finding it from scratch. And it's arguable. I get that. But I'm saying someone that discovers something from scratch is very creative, but someone that's able to take that to a whole new level is just as creative, if not more creative, because they got to find...
That initial person never got the opportunity to take it to a whole nother level because
they had the opportunity.
Vulture, aka Drake.
They had the opportunity. They just didn't do it. So history did not write itself in favor of them.
It takes time when it's like someone that's not as powerful. You're pretty much taking an idea and plugging it into a bigger machine. When Drake takes it versus a little machine, it's gonna take longer. So you can't say, well, it's not taking long. It's taking too long. Let's just plug it into this big machine.
Yeah, but you have to understand that, if you're talking specifics of Drake,
I catch myself being argumentative just for the sake of being argumentative sometimes.
Yeah. But I mean, if you take Drake's case into example, Drake was not a huge machine. He started off as a small artist and then later got plugged into a big record label and then made a name for himself and got
but we're talking about brand. Like Drake now, like when he's taking music from small artists and plugs it into his own songs.
What I'm trying to say is those small artists had the same opportunity that Drake did. And by Drake taking their sound, or by Drake, featuring on a song with them, that propels them. Like it's not like it's a parasitic relationship. It's
okay. I can see what you're saying.
What's the word? It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, symbiotic.
Yeah, symbiotic. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's not a parasitic one, He's not leeching off some artists. He's propelling himself and them. So, but I think it takes a creative, it takes someone creative to find a sound, explore it, and be like, you know what, I think this has a lot of potential. Then manipulate their own flow to, be compatible with that song, and then make it widely accessible to the general populace.
Let's transfer this over to like the whole Elon Musk thing. Then actually not even Elon Musk things, but inventions in general. Let's say you have a pretty good idea on an invention, but let's say some big let's say the idea was something to do with social media, like some kind of incorporation into social media, and Instagram sees your idea and says, hey, we'll pay you this amount of money, but in your mind you're like, no, if I work on my own on this, I can probably get more than that what they're offering me right now. So you decide to take it further.
Yeah.
Versus where when we bring it back to the Drake situation, those artists don't have the same option. He can just take it and run with it And you're saying, well, yeah, but they're still gonna get some kind of exposure from it. But
Yeah,
you're right.
But the thing is,
they never got the opportunity to take it that much further.
But the thing is it's not like there's no reprimand. You know, if Drake takes that flow, makes it widely popular, it's not like there's no reprimand for it. If that happens, the public, the people listening will call him out on it, label him
Is
with
there like
nasty terms.
I actually don't know. Like, is there any kind of like law wise, any kind of ramifications?
It's copyright infringement. You're you're taking someone else's work of art and you're making it your own.
But like if you manipulate it in a way where you make it slightly different,
you can make it similar. I mean, again, that it can get pretty shady. You'd have to bring it into the court of law, and have lawyers and defendants argue the case. But for the most part, if you manipulate the song in a certain way, you can make it your own.
Okay.
But I mean, people will still notice. Like Hotline Bling. Hotline Bling was a clear ripoff of Dram's song. I Like to Cha Cha. It was a clear ripoff of I Like to Cha Cha. Then you had No Long Talking. I think that song, it was like a ripoff of XXX Tentacion's song. Yeah, I mean Drake has been doing it, but it's not. I wouldn't say a ripoff, because a ripoff makes it sound like it's of lower quality, but that's not the truth. It's just he took inspiration from that, was able to format it and then make it his own sound. I see no problem with that. I can see how people would see have a problem with that though.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's get into the
Jon Jones,
the recent Jon Jones news.
And sad news, and if you're a Jon Jones fan.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say sad news, because the California Athletic State Commission didn't give him that horrible of a punishment.
Let's break it back for the people though. So what's up with Jon Jones right now? Where did you just come from?
For those of you that don't know, Jon Jones failed a drug test after the fight with Daniel Cormier. Was it before or after?
Drug test during right before that, like
right before, yeah.
The day
so
of the
he
fight.
failed a drug test right before the fight leading up to Daniel Cormier, and then USADA, they had a back and forth. Dana White decided to strip him of the belt, put it up for contention, right?
No, he gave it to Daniel Cormier because their fight. Since Jon Jones was popped for some form of PEDs, the fight between him and Daniel Cormier was a no contest, so that championship belt goes back to Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, so it went back to Daniel Cormier. We later found out that the drug that he got popped for was Turinabol. And now what happens is he's awaiting trial for USADA. In the meantime, he just had his California Athletic State Commission case, to which he got fined $204,000 or $205,000, 40% of his purse, and then after that he got his fighting license stripped, which is fine because he can later reapply for it in August of 2018. So like I said, it wasn't too bad of a
punishment.
Yeah, too bad of a punishment.
It's still pending. That's the
thing. But the problem
recently just happened though is he went under the California state.
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah, California Athletic State Commission got fined $205,000, 40% of his purse, and he got his fighting license stripped. But he can later apply for that in August 2018. However, the thing is this is not a severe punishment. The problem is this might set a precedent for the USADA hearing, which he has later in March, I believe. So it's not looking too good. And the worst part isn't even the punishment. The worst part was Jon Jones' defense. He basically was like, I don't know how this got in my system. When they asked him, well, hey, you know that USADA has training tutorials. After you got popped with was it clomidopine?
Try something, wasn't?
Let's Google it. But I think it was clomidopine or chloroform, whatever it's called. But it's an estrogen blocker. People take that after a cycle of steroids. So he got popped for the estrogen blocker, and after that, USADA made him do training tutorials to educate him, because they said he acted with reckless abandonment or he acted really reckless because he took a male enhancement pill.
Oh yeah, some kind of.
I'm trying to rephrase it without saying. Oh wait, I'm on the R.N.R podcast. Never mind. He took try to get a boner, pretty much like a Viagra.
Some kind of dick pill.
So he took
Off-brand dick pill, right?
Yeah, it was called what was it called?
The dick pill.
It was called Cialis.
No, it wasn't. What's like the normal one is called Cialis, but his training partner or something like that.
Yeah, he
his
took
buddy
off-brand Cialis.
Yeah.
He from a gas station or something. It came from a gas station, but it was an estrogen blocker. And after that, USADA made him do training tutorials. But the thing was, the training tutorials, he admitted to not having actually seen them. He said that he had management sign off, and then he hired new management. Basically, he just was like, I swear to my Heavenly Father, I swear to everything I love that I've not taken steroids. And, it's crazy, man. He's like, I haven't taken the peds. And that was his argument. That was it. Nothing else. So it's not looking too good for Jon Jones. However, if he's able to fight in 2018, that's going to be the sickest year. Conor McGregor coming back.
I don't think he's going to be fighting
Jon
anytime
Jones.
in 2018. Think so?
Some people have actually predicted it, yeah.
Because the California State...
Well, here's the thing. California Athletic State Commission,
they
one
don't
of
give
the
him
members...
any years, but the ones who would be giving him years would be USADA.
Yeah, I know that. But the thing is one of the members of the California Athletic State Commission, I forget his name. What was it? Here, I got to check. Yeah.
Nowitzki?
No, that he's on USADA. He's not...
Oh, you said California State. I'm not sure. Here, you can go ahead, though.
But basically what he said was he believes Jon Jones. Like, he actually believes him. And that's what the main thing that they're trying to argue is intent. Whether Jon Jones intentionally took Turinabol. Yeah. Or if he didn't intentionally take it, well, how did it get
in his system? Because the situation right now is...
It was Andy Foster, by the way. California Athletic State Commission chair member Andy Foster agreed with Jon Jones and said he believes him.
Yeah, because like the way he popped for the what was the drug? Try something.
Oh, let's check. Where is this here?
Try. Whatever.
Oh, Turinabol.
When he popped for that, the way to get like a good benefit from that steroid, you would have to be on it on a certain kind of cycle. And the way he popped, he didn't pop during his training camp because he got tested during his training camp. The only time the Turinabol showed in his system was the day of the fight or the day of the weigh-in. And it wouldn't have made sense for him to pop during that time because...
it's called, by the way, the estrogen blocker he popped for was clomiphene. Yeah, I was right.
So. Yeah. But there's a lot of weird questions into how it got into his system, and that's his current situation.
If you guys kept up with the last situation, he had a year banned. He was banned for a year, and how they proved that he took a tainted supplement was he said, my pills were tainted, so they USADA bought more of those pills, tested it, and found out.
Pills, right?
Yeah, and found out the whole line was tainted. So then they were able to exonerate him.
So since it was like a off-brand dick pill on the container, it says like that has this list of ingredients, but really it had more, and it had something that made him pop off that showed on his drug test as a potential steroid.
Because a lot of times when people take
not
supplements,
steroid, but something banned off the list, something off the banned list.
Yeah, a lot of time when people buy supplements from an online source or retailer or wherever they're buying it from, those supplements are also produced in the same factory where they produce other supplements that has peds in them, So if they don't clean the equipment, sometimes some of those supplements can get tainted. There's a multitude of reasons as to why supplements would get tainted. Or in Jon Jones' case,
the companies just do it intentionally, like these bodybuilding, like what do you call it? Pre-workout exercise or proteins. Like whey is a good one apparently, but some of them where they say
whey protein is a type of protein, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think. But some of them say they're natural and all this, but really when you test them, when you use them, they're really effective, even though the ingredients that they list wouldn't necessarily give you the effects that you're experiencing. Well, the reason that you're experiencing those effects is because there's some additional ingredients in there that you don't know about. And that's how a lot of these UFC athletes have been popping, because they think they're clean, but really the companies, these
Yeah, either way, it's just
these
still
companies,
it's
yeah.
still reckless on the fighter's case. Still reckless. They should know better.
That was
However,
the USADA part of the USADA training.
yeah,
I bet.
yeah.
They
Well, it
probably-
wasn't even training. It was just tutorial videos, and Jon Jones didn't watch him. He had management sign off. But what happened was, after this, even in lieu of all this evidence that surfaced, Jon Jones still got the full sentence. It couldn't have gone any worse than that.
This time or
Last time. Yeah, he
Okay.
got the full penalty. So it's like, coming around to this new hearing. It's like, what's gonna happen, man? It's like, yo,
Do you know when
is he
it's
gonna
happening?
return
The-
later in March? I think mid to late March.
Really?
Before the end of the March, there's gonna be some news that comes out.
I heard it was this week. Like I heard, like you said, it was gonna make some kind of
Could be
announcement
this week. Could be this week. I mean, it is March, so
Yeah.
yeah, it could be this week. So, it's gonna be crazy news, man. It's gonna be insane. I would love to see Jon Jones return to the octagon. When they asked him, in the California Athletic State Commission hearing, by the way, I thought that was extremely unprofessional hearing.
From whose points? John's
from
or
California Athletic State Commission. They went on okay, I get it. It's a hearing. You're trying to establish precedent. If Jon Jones has a precedent of being reckless, being unresponsible, and that he might have taken these with intention, I get that. But there was a bit more of attack on his character, saying that his car was wrapped around a pole. They said a lot of
the
these.
way they phrased some things was kind of weird.
Yeah, they said a lot of these. It was just a personal attack on Jon Jones. I didn't like that at all. However, yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. And they asked him, what are you going to do if you return? He said, well, I'm going to take that belt away from DC. So he has
My bad, guys.
clear intention of coming back and taking the light heavyweight title. I think he still has intention of moving up to heavyweight, but Brock Lesnar is also going to return, hopefully in 2018. So it would be sweet to see all three return: Brock Lesnar, Conor McGregor, and Jon Jones. He's going to do something crazy. Do something crazy for the sport. But we'll see how it goes. I mean,
what's your prediction? What do you think he's gonna? Well, how many years do you think they're gonna give him? Do you think he's coming back 2018?
I mean, this whole situation just makes me sick. It hurts me a lot. So I don't even want to give a prediction. I mean, I'm just gonna dread the day that it comes and see what happens.
With a heavy heart, I'm gonna predict that Jon Jones gets suspended for at least 2 years, and
at least. I mean,
at
they
least
say
makes
it
2
could be
years.
4 or double.
Yeah, it could be 4. Could be 4, but I'm gonna go with 2.
By the way, UFC says that they're ready to have him back. Remember how Dana White was like, I don't even know if UFC even wants him back at this point because he just keeps screwing up. He keeps messing up. It looks like they had to change their heart. They definitely want him back. So California Athletic State Commission, Andy Foster believes him. UFC believes him. Obviously, if you see the punishment that the California Athletic State Commission gave him, they want him back. Think about it. $205,000 fine. All right, it's for show. It's 40% of his purse. Pocket change for Jon Jones,
very
probably.
Minor in the
But
big picture.
the thing is they revoked his fighting license, but he can just reapply for it in August of 2018. So it's 5 months? Not too bad.
Can he do that, or is it something?
He can reply. He can reapply for it in August 2018.
Okay.
So it's okay. If USADA gives him a year, maybe a couple months, he'll be back. He'll be back strong too. It'll be sweet to see him in 2018.
How old is he now? Is he 32?
I think 31, 32, yeah.
31, 32, so...
He's still in his prime.
Say if he gave him 2 years, though, 34?
Even if he came back at 34, he'll still be yeah. I mean,
the game will have changed.
Nah, GSP came back 4 years later and smoked Michael Bisping.
Michael Bisping.
And Jon Jones has taken above 2 years. He's been out of the game for above 2 years. By the way, I think when he got caught with clomiphene, I think they gave him a 2-year suspension.
1 year, I think, right? I'm not sure.
Could have been. I think might have been 2 years. But anyway, he when he fought Daniel Cormier, it was that he was gone for like a little over 2 years. 2 years. And he had a freaking a knockout.
Actually, I think he was banned for 2 years, but no, 1 year, but he was gone for 2 years because of the whole hit and run situation.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was just
cocaine and all that other stuff.
Almost went to jail.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit over 2 years.
And the steroid, because remember he was supposed to fight at 200, but then he popped for the first dick pill steroid type of thing.
Yeah. It was estrogen blocker. Then it was the deep. Yeah, I think the estrogen blockers were in the deep pill.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy thing, man. It's gonna be insane. You know what I want to talk about though? I want to talk about a bit off topic, crazy off topic. This is the purpose of this show, is to be off topic, right? Drug use in America.
America.
It's like no, yeah,
really.
In specific attention to marijuana usage in America.
You want to bring it back to marijuana or just like pharmaceuticals in general?
Marijuana.
Shoot, what is the problem with this country in marijuana? Is there a problem? I don't know. This country, I feel like the marijuana has kind of become a recreational drug, and maybe even more so than alcohol in the teenage population, in the youth, because I don't know. I don't really know why it's like that. I think the youth kind of like something that's prohibited. Maybe because marijuana, not only is it in the states that it is legal recreationally, it's 21, and in most other states it's prohibited, but it's still readily available.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know why marijuana is so rampant in America.
Where's your stance on it? Like, you believe
my stance in marijuana?
Yeah.
Man, I don't
Political
know.
stance.
I don't know.
Do you want legalization?
Oh, definitely. I think it should definitely be like legalized for medical recreational use. But I don't know if I subscribe to the whole marijuana lifestyle. I don't know if people should be smoking weed every day and operating like that, unless you have proven that.
Here's where I stand. Okay, I'm very adamantly against marijuana. But let me rephrase. I'm not adamantly against marijuana. I'm adamantly against THC.
THC.
Right. So if people, I hate the fact that people say.
What is THC?
THC is a chemical found in marijuana that gives you the high feeling.
Yeah, it's the hallucinogen portion of the
crystals.
The plant.
Here's what I think, right? People always say, well, marijuana isn't a drug, it's a medicine, right? And it's like, no, it's definitely a drug. However, if you have chronic pain, you have chronic back pain, then take CBD, right? Take CBD, it'll help you with it. If you have trouble sleeping at night, take sleeping pills. Oh, you don't like the fact that there's things in there that's addictive. You don't like the fact that there's things in there that can harm you, the side effects or whatever.
There's good ones. There's ones that are non-addictive, that are natural.
Exactly. Take natural herbs, valerian root, kava, whatever it is that'll promote sleep. Valerian root is known to promote sleep. I used to take valerian root herb a long time ago. I ended up throwing away all my stupid supplements that I bought at Nature Valley for like absolutely no reason. I don't know why I had all these like herbs. It was stupid. But yeah, I ended up throwing all those away, and they were actually really expensive. However, there are herbs out there that help you sleep, that help promote sleep. There's natural ways too, if you exercise or you try to relax, clear your mind, maybe do some meditation before going to bed. There's ways, if you want to go to sleep, you'll go to sleep, is what I'm trying to say, right? Unless you have like a horrible illness, like you have insomnia or something, then again, you can take those natural herbs, or you can just go on sleeping medication. Because how is marijuana more, how is it more effective than sleeping medication at putting someone to sleep? Like, it just doesn't. I guess for some people it might be, but again, there's no other ways besides marijuana for sleep. Again, if you have pain, take CBD. You have anxiety, you have mental illness, take CBD. That'll help, because it's known to, help ease anxiety, depression, that kind of thing. So,
just on the sleeping portion, I've taken sleeping pills, and a hypothetical version of me has also smoked marijuana, and marijuana really lays my ass out versus sleeping pills, where sleeping pills, for me specifically, I've taken 10 milligram sleeping pills. I think they're graded like pharmaceutical grade, because most sleeping pills are around 3 to 5 milligrams, and this one was 10. And I guess it kind of works, but it's easy to build a tolerance against sleeping pills quick versus marijuana, where it's a depressant. It makes you that extremely tired, extremely sleepy if you want to. Like, if it's late and you're already tired and you're trying to fall asleep but your mind is still active, I think marijuana is a pretty good alternative to most sleeping pills.
Yeah, I can see that. Again, the root of the problem is the fact that, you're not being able to sleep because you're thinking too much, you're overthinking. I think that marijuana is just a Band-Aid for the root problem. It's like you have a gaping wound and you're putting a Band-Aid on it. But
what's the alternative then?
Well, address exactly what the problem is. Why are you overthinking at night? Why is your mind wandering to negative scenarios? Why is that?
I have a lot of problems.
Why is there so much mental instability when it comes to bedtime or throughout the day? And what are ways that you can take? What are steps that you can take to help ease that mental instability? Probably promotion of maybe do more exercise, or maybe wake up early in the mornings, read, or maybe meditate. Meditation has been linked to a slew of very positive things. So
that sounds like very good alternatives for someone who has good time scheduling and good time management. But if you're somebody who's in school and you don't have maybe the best time management, and you don't have time to exercise or meditate, a good alternative to all that for you might be getting, like, because school, if you're working and if you go to school and you're busy, it's hard to find times to do the activities that you listed. But marijuana is just readily available. 10 minutes before you go to bed, you can just smoke a little bit. You can have a nice trip in bed. Have no difficulty.
How long can you keep that up? Like, how long can you just continue to, bombard your lungs with tobacco and marijuana smoke if you roll a blunt, or smoke continuously? It's like.
But when you say smoke a blunt and bombard your lungs, I think the smoking marijuana, I don't see that as a good thing either. I think I see that as a problem with the fact that it's still illegal. That we still have to rely on these caveman medieval ways of taking something into your body. If I want to take some vitamins and to get the benefits of some vitamins,
there's not really caveman. There's so many. There's so many ways of intaking marijuana into your body. Edibles.
The only ones that are readily available for most of the people in this country, since it's illegal in most states, is burning it and inhaling it, or illegally somehow making it. If I want to take some illegal vitamins, vitamin D or something, there's gummy bears, everything's available. But since it's illegal, there's no way of doing that. Instead, we have to resort to these medieval ways of burning it and inhaling the smoke. What kind of way is that, and taking it into your system?
Well, you can vaporize it as well, and it's not hard. If you have a nug, you can vaporize
But just the fact that it's illegal prevents people who want to make money from creating waste and taking the system into the marijuana into your body. If it was legal, there would be drinks, gummy bears, cakes, brownies, all types of ways of intaking it into your body, but instead we have to resort to burning it.
And those do exist. It's just not as easily available in states that are illegal.
Yeah.
But here's where I stand on the fact if marijuana is legalized in the state that I reside in, I have this irrational fear that there will be such widespread usage of marijuana that, you know, people will be just smoking while walking on the street. There's a lot of no smoke zones for cigarettes. But people still don't care. Like, if you go to a college campus, dorms that are no, you know,
People
you can't
still be
smoke
people.
in. Like, my hypothetical people that I reside with do that currently, hypothetically. And it's annoying. It's annoying to me. Like, there's some times where, like, it stinks up the whole room, and I just want to, you know, open my room door, walk into theirs, just come in there and tell them both to stand up, get their hands ready, and I just slam them on the ground and I beat them to a bloody pulp. Like, I fantasized many times like that, you know? I don't mean to, I hypothetically fantasize moments like that. But yeah, there's a lot of times where, you know, I'm uncomfortable with the usage. I've made it publicly known. I've looked at someone face to face and told them, hey, I'm very uncomfortable with this. Don't do it. If you do it, we're going to have problems. And they still continue to do it. And it's like, you know, now they've
define do it though. Like, do you mean smoke just in general, or just smoke in your vicinity?
Smoke in my vicinity. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care why. It's their life. If they want to smoke marijuana every single day and not do anything, or if they want to do things and smoke, I care less. It doesn't affect me. But when it's in my vicinity now, that becomes my problem. Now, I would have to say,
you got to give yourself a little wiggle room in there. You can't have a super hard stance on that either, though, because
no, I have a very
for
hard
example, cigarettes. You know, cigarettes are illegal, but your
Here's
roommate can possibly smell like cigarettes, but he might not be smoking in the room, but maybe he smokes so often outside.
I don't like that either. I don't like smoke at all.
How?
Here's the thing.
What is he supposed to do in that situation?
Here's the thing.
Not
One, I'll never room with someone that smokes, right? Two,
that's a good way.
If he does and he does smoke in the room, all right, we got a problem. We're gonna fight, and I've made that abundantly
outside
clear.
of the room.
I've made that abundantly clear with my hypothetical roommates. They've become really, really good about it. They don't do it at all in the room. I guess it's probably because of fear or whatever. Because I got really mad one time.
He said fear.
Like, I slammed the door.
They see me doing them push-ups.
They see
me doing my sit-ups.
They actually don't see that. But the thing is,
they see my 4-pack, my 6-pack.
All right, but the thing is,
they see this back.
What I'm trying to say is, if he does it outside, that's fine. If the stench sticks to his clothes and he comes in the room and I'm his roommate, yeah, we're gonna have a definite problem.
What is he supposed to do about that?
He can't do anything. I'm gonna request for a room swap. Yeah. And if I don't get that, God, yeah, it's probably gonna end up me strangling him, like, just straight up. I'm just gonna be truthful. But the thing is, the problem I have is cigarettes are readily available in America. There's such a negative perception on tobacco. You see advertisements all over the internet about big tobacco and how negative it is. It's links to cancer.
It used to be cool though.
Everybody now knows and is very aware of the negative side effects of cigarettes. That will never happen to marijuana, because marijuana is cool, but it's not nearly as bad as cigarettes. It's not nearly as bad as cigarettes. Yeah. It's not nearly as bad as alcohol.
Yeah.
However, if it becomes readily available and legal in this state, there's going to be a surge of usage in the state. So you already have problems currently with cigarettes. People just smoking it on the street. You know, sometimes I ride my bike around campus and I get bombarded with like cigarette smoke, and it's annoying. I just hate the smell. It's like, like it's like a cloud in front of me. I'm like, ugh.
I don't smoke cigarettes at all.
I don't like that at all.
But for some reason, I actually like the smell.
And then if marijuana becomes legal, imagine how many moments like that where you're just sitting for a bus stop and someone around you smoking marijuana. Then the people that are smelling it get contact highs, and it's like, well, I think there would be a
distinction between cigarettes and marijuana. I think marijuana is going to be more similar. Like the law. I mean, at least the laws behind it are going to be more similar to alcohol versus cigarettes, because it is the same.
Yeah, but how many people?
But it's like it's an intoxicant. You're gonna be high.
How many people would care? That's the thing. How many people would care if it was viewed as the same as alcohol, where you can't have it, you can't have public consumption of
I
it?
can already see it. I
Yeah.
feel like let's just say federally it got legalized in all of the United States. I feel like the first maybe first month, not even first month, the first year would be your nightmare.
It would be
Like people would just be
chaotic.
so happy that finally it's legal, that like it'd just be everywhere.
It's
I think it
chaotic.
would be your nightmare, but I think there would be a drop off. I think after a while,
No,
maybe
no.
a year or two, worst case, like
There's-
maybe a generation
there's
later, people are
constant-
gonna grow up in an environment where that's always been legal. Ever since they were born, it was legal. So
No.
they're gonna adopt it the same way they adopt alcohol. They're gonna see how to use it.
Yeah, but
what the
alcohol is
proper
rampant.
dosage and
Alcohol is
so
ra-
forth.
No, alcohol is rampant. Alcohol has become a common thing in our generation. It's been legal since Prohibition, when it was banned, and
Excuse me.
yeah. Anyway, so alcohol has been legal since it's been banned. It's banned with the Prohibition. So current generation's view of alcohol is completely different than it is of marijuana. You get what I'm saying? It's completely different. But going back to what I was saying,
But it's completely different because it is legal. Like we grew up in a generation where it's always been legal. We know how to. We know the proper
and
dosage.
and the
We
usage
know
is still
how to
rampant.
properly
Like you
use
still
it.
see people walking freely with alcohol. You'll see them at parties.
But you don't see people drunk, walking drunk everywhere. You
Absolutely.
you see it, but it's not this.
But here's the problem, though.
So frequent that it's a problem.
Alcohol doesn't affect your partner. If I'm drinking next to you, it has zero effect on you. Unless I offer you a drink, then it has effect on you. If I'm smoking in your vicinity, 9 times out of 10, if you have a little tolerance, you'll get high. Like, you'll get very high. If I'm smoking within this distance from you, if I have a blunt in my hand, you'll get high. So
That's
one
true.
person's
They both have
usage-
their benefits and pros and benefits. But if you were to just you can't just point out like the pros for alcohol. Because if I was
No,
to
I'm
do
not
the
pointing
same,
out the pros at all.
then I could say that drunk driving is 13 times as likely. If you're drunk and you're driving, you're 13 times as likely to get an
Here's the
accident
thing.
versus marijuana,
So
where you're
what?
twice as
I
likely.
hate when people bring that up. It's like they think that people that smoke marijuana are going to refrain from alcohol usage. Are you crazy? It's actually more likely that if someone smokes alcohol, they'll drink. Crossfading is a new huge thing. At a party,
I don't know where you got that statistics from, but
No, I mean, I feel
don't know
like-
if I agree with that.
I
I
mean-
think people tend to align themselves with one
No, and it's-
intoxicant versus
okay. Look, if
alcohol and weed.
at a party, if you're not gonna go to any
Actually, I don't
party
know about
that
that.
has only like marijuana, it's like, all right, guys, here's all this. Here's
That's
all
the
these joints.
lamest
Smoke
party
this.
I've ever heard
It's
of.
the
It's just a bunch of
weirdest
dudes, quiet
thing, man.
dudes.
Everybody's anxious in their little corner in their little brain. It's like, what the heck? Why would you even want that? Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm afraid that the rampant usage will just cause, unnecessary pressure. Now there's this massive glorification of marijuana. Kids growing up in the school system will feel this unnecessary pressure to smoke marijuana. There's going to be,
I definitely agree with that.
rampant usage in the streets, walking in the sidewalks, of people just smoking freely. No smoke zones are going to be disregarded.
I think that will fade away after
I don't
each
think it
year,
will,
after
'cause
each generation.
If the glorification goes along its path like it currently is, I don't think it will, because there's so marijuana
right now
is
it's
so
at its
glorified,
peak.
and I think it's glorified, and
It's
there's
peaking
such a
at least.
positive perception of marijuana, which I hate. It's like there's such a neglection of the negative side effects. Like, people truly believe that you cannot get addicted to marijuana.
Why do you think that is? And
I think it's because, a lot of people's, role models engage in that activity. When you turn on the TV and you watch, an artist, you go on your laptop, you watch artists, your favorite artist perform, your favorite rap star, and most of the time he smokes marijuana. Actors, you go to a party, you see marijuana. Turn on the TV, you see even politics slowly swaying in favor of marijuana. It's like this.
it definitely, I feel like it doesn't close doors. Like if Will Smith was to, there was like news of Will Smith all over saying that he got caught with heroin, or he overdosed on heroin or something, there would be some doors that close for him. There would be some
the
Hollywood
public perception will be
opportunities.
scared, but
Public perception would change. But with
but you
marijuana,
see Seth Rogen smoking marijuana on camera. Like, I think it was in remember it's the CNN New York show.
No.
Anyway,
You said
CNN.
Seth Rogen?
So the CNN New Year's Live event, they filmed a state that had marijuana legal, and they're smoking marijuana on camera, like
On CNN.
on CNN on New
That's
Year's.
crazy.
It was on New Year's, and they're like, they call this the doob tube, and they're like smoking marijuana, taking bong rips. I'm just like, oh my goodness, man. I'm just, I don't like it at all. I'm like, sometimes I wish, I had the like current generation, like this current generation's view on politics, equality, everything, alternative ways to make income, like being a content creator, making music, have all those professions respected how it is now, and then put that all the way in 1960, where equality was the same, but just like the view on drugs, everything else was the same. Like, I wish there was still a negative perception of drugs, negative viewpoint on drugs, without the targeting of black communities and arresting of people for possession of like marijuana. I don't want people to get like arrested for possession of marijuana, but I wish that public perception will have a negative viewpoint of marijuana. Not so negative that it stamples research and that people that have chronic illnesses can't get access to CBD. I just wish there was just such a negative perception on THC.
Like recreational
usage. I think recreational usage is just absolutely unnecessary, man.
It's a vice. Like, I think it's like...
It's so unnecessary.
Do you think there's a place for vices in general in society? Like, do you think alcohol or any kind of recreational...
It's bad. But
do you think
but
it's
the thing
necessary?
is telling people that it's bad and they shouldn't do it is going to push them to do it anymore.
No, but do you think it's necessary?
Here, let me answer that. Telling people that something is bad and telling them not to use it is going to push them to use it even more, and there's going to be a glorification because people like to do things that are bad. It's like, yo, look at me, I'm doing something that's illegal, yo. I'm smoking marijuana, and it's cool. Like when artists do it, vice versa. So in that viewpoint, I think that vices are necessary. However, there still should be a negative perception of vices, and respect the dangers of those.
Let me rephrase the question for you a little bit. If you were to play God and construct your perfect society, would marijuana be involved in that? I
wish there was no.
No, not marijuana, but would vices be take part in your society? Because
absolutely not.
If people work hard,
why? What's
then
the point?
people want to relax.
There's other ways of relaxing. You don't need a.
But not marijuana. I'm just talking vices, just in general vices.
No, when you say vices, you look at. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking of marijuana, alcohol, things that people stereotypically have fun with, but you can have fun in multitude of other facets. You can go to the movies. You ever been like skydiving, or you ever been to the ice rink? You ever done any crazy things like that? That is fun. That's way more fun than going to a party and drinking.
That's your perception of fun.
No, that's everyone's perception of fun. There's no one I know that doesn't have fun without only going to partying. Like, there's things that they like to do, like go golfing or mini golfing or, skydiving or...
I also think...
paintball, shooting paintballs.
No, those are fun, but sometimes I feel like... I'm kind of talking ignorantly now, but like, for example, I feel like people that have traumatic past but still are functional in society sometimes want vices to in their free time, like marijuana, alcohol, just to be relaxed when they have so they can have peace of mind. I don't even know how to say it. Like when they have time to themselves, there's some people that just don't like that. They don't like being in their own head because it gives them an opportunity to reflect on their traumatic past.
See, wait, what do you mean by that?
Like, for example, let's say someone has a horrible traumatic event in their childhood. And
so they don't smoke marijuana because of that, is what you're trying to say?
Huh?
So they don't
They smoke marijuana. What about those people who smoke? Yeah, like
that's a horrible thing. It's one of the worst things you can do. That's literally like you're never supposed to do that. That's how addiction forms. That's how dependency forms. You're never supposed to use drugs as a way of escaping from something that you're afraid to confront. Yeah. It's not healthy. It's not mentally healthy at all. It's literally like textbook reasoning as to how addicts become addicts, or textbook reasoning as to, you know, why all these negative things happen. It's because people want to escape. Like, why would you want it? No, it's not good. It's not healthy.
No, actually, I said that out loud, and the second I said it out loud, I was like, that's not a good place for vices.
Yeah, and I hate, you know what, another negative perception I hate about marijuana usage is that people that adamantly, you know, verbally say out loud that, you know, I don't use marijuana because I don't like the way I feel when I use marijuana. I don't like the fact that I'm paranoid, or I don't like the fact that I get anxiety, or I don't like the fact that I get lightheaded. I'm in this like dizzy space for some people. I just don't like that feeling. Then there's this perception of them of like, oh, well, you know, there's something wrong with you. Like maybe you have something mentally that you're trying to confront. Maybe it's like, maybe the psychological makeup of who you are is not at peace or whatever. It's like, that's the biggest load of horse garbage. Like that's such a stupid way. I remember watching someone that used to like smoke marijuana regularly for years that stopped, and he mentioned that and it's just like, it's true. That's not true at all. Like people that don't smoke marijuana because they're paranoid, or because they get anxiety, or because they overthink, that's a valid reason. It's not because they have mental instability within themselves. I don't think it's universally
applicable, but I think it is applicable in the same manner that people say with alcohol, that when you're drunk, you spill your true emotions, which isn't necessarily true, but it's been true enough that it's created that stereotype. And I think the same thing applies for marijuana.
No. I mean, it's like scientifically shown that when you drink alcohol, your inhibitions start to, you know, your guard starts to lower.
Yeah.
Like your inhibitions kind of go a bit out the window.
Yeah.
You let your guard down, you relax.
Yeah.
But it's been so, you know, when people say I spill my emotions, they literally have it's been scientifically proven that they have like their guard a little bit like lowered, their inhibitions kind of go out the window. You know, it's scientifically shows like, and when you drink alcohol, you feel that. That's why you feel a bit free, feel a bit loose, because
but I don't think the stereotype is based around the scientific evidence. I think people have just seen it
because it's become it's common so much.
Yeah, and I think something similar is with marijuana. Like I feel like a lot of people that have smoked marijuana for a long period of time, I think when they initially started, they were paranoid.
Yeah.
They were all the negative things people ascribe to marijuana, but they experienced that enough times where that no longer holds them back. I don't even know how to say it. That's not they know what they're getting themselves into.
They built a big enough tolerance to where it affects them less.
Yeah, like
and they're able to enjoy it a bit more.
For example, the paranoid part. I think the paranoid part. There's many ways people can be paranoid, but I think one thing with marijuana is the fact that it is illegal.
Oh no, I don't think it's
most
not
of the time
environment at all.
Just
for me,
just the fact that it's illegal means when you smoke, you're putting yourself in a position where if you get caught, you.
Here's the thing,
but like, not just for you, but like just in general.
No,
just
I'm
the
saying
fact
in
that
general,
it's illegal.
It's not really
when you're
illegal.
smoking it.
It's not really.
You're putting
illegal.
yourself in a position where you could be criminalized. So you're already functioning from a paranoid standpoint of view because you can't get caught. That's just. That's just your situation when you're smoking marijuana.
It's not really illegal. It's illegal, but it's not illegal.
It is.
You know that if you get caught with the cops, they'll give you a slap on the wrist. Like
really?
There's nothing. Yeah, marijuana usage is a slap on the wrist.
It's gonna be on your record though.
No, it wouldn't. Most of the time, you would get a warning.
What?
Like if they find large amounts of it.
I think we've been spending too much time on school campus.
If they find large amounts of it, if you're doing it while driving, then maybe you'll get in trouble. But if you're just hanging around and a cop sees you, they'll give you a court date. And you might get a misdemeanor, maybe. It's like, but people are not worried about getting caught. It's so
no, I don't think
popular.
I don't think that's like the main source of paranoia. No. I think the main source of paranoia is when you smoke for the first time. It takes you out of your normal reality. Makes you
The only
observant
legal-
of things that you wouldn't normally be observant about, and it kind of freaks you out because it's something that you've never experienced in your life.
I feel like the only paranoia that stems from legality is if you're smoking marijuana, there's other things going around, because that tends to be the environment. If someone's smoking marijuana, there might be someone around them that's underage drinking, or there might be other people around them that's doing other hardcore drugs like cocaine or something else, and then that might spark.
So would you say that's
bit
the
of anxiety
the
or
fact?
paranoia?
Would
But
you
no,
say that's
absolutely
marijuana,
not.
or would you
Absolutely
say
not.
that
Absolutely
it's
not.
the fact
Here's-
that it's illegal and the way to get it is
No,
to hang out
no,
around
never-
people that have
no,
do
no.
heroin and cocaine and all these other
I don't
drugs that
tie-
you just listed?
Absolutely not. I don't tie that to the anxiety of marijuana. I think that marijuana, for some people, it just affects people's brain in a different way. It affects them completely differently. Like, it's not only the environment that makes them paranoid. No, you can be in a safe environment and you can still be paranoid out of your freaking mind.
No, I definitely agree with that. But
because
like,
here's what I think. I think that
those are
marijuana-
factors as well, though.
They might play. Yeah, they could. I'm not saying that we neglect that entire thing. That if you're in an uncomfortable environment, you smoke marijuana, you get paranoid. Of course, that happens.
No.
If you're in an uncomfortable environment and you do anything, you get paranoid. Like I've hypothetically drunk in an uncomfortable environment and gotten paranoid, and I've been like, yo, I need to get myself like back down, dog, and but that's just an environment that sparks anything. You do anything in an uncomfortable environment, you'll naturally be uncomfortable.
What I'm trying to say is all these different sources of possible paranoia, like the fact that it's illegal, the fact that you're putting yourself in this mindset for the first time in your whole life. Of course, that's with anything, alcohol, anything, that's gonna make you a little bit paranoid. But I think marijuana naturally also makes you a little more makes you think a little bit more about your current situation, and if there's like negative things going on in your life or something, it kind of highlights that.
Here I'll talk to specifically,
and I feel like if you go into that like with a better understanding of what's coming, you can handle it a little better. You know that what's coming, so you're better. You can set your mind better, so it's better. It's ready to handle that situation.
You're talking about it like it's the root of the anxiety or the paranoia, that it's some personal struggle that you're going with, that you have, that you're overthinking about, and that if you solve that problem, that issue would go away.
It doesn't have to be a struggle, though.
It doesn't.
It could just be.
It doesn't even have to be a personal problem.
It could literally be your ambition. Like I want to get this. I want to approach this. I want to be so good at this so badly, and then
you see again. You're thinking of like a metaphysical. You're thinking of like a metaphysical trait of someone. Like, it doesn't even have to be tied to personal identity at all, because you're talking about personal identity, like the concept of ambition. Like, you're driven, and maybe that pressure you put on yourself will cause you to have anxiety and paranoia. And maybe if you if you challenge that at its root, then that would go away. But it doesn't even have to be that. It could just be the altered state that your mind is in because of the drug. Like, hypothetically, in my situation, I would even get like physical sensations sometimes when I smoke. Hypothetically, I'll get tingling in the back of my head and the skull, and it would kind of work its way down to my legs. I had this, like, it was almost like I was like in a foggy state where I knew I was there. I was fully aware of what I was doing, but I wasn't quite there. I wasn't quite present. I wasn't snappy or responsive as I was. It was like decreased motor function. I was confused, disorientated. It was just such an uncomfortable feeling, and it felt like it lasted 1,000 years, and it was so uncomfortable. And it not only manifested itself mentally, but it manifested itself physically with these sensations I would get, like this tingly sensation I would get. And I know a lot of people that have horrible anxiety experience that physical manifestation of their anxiety, where their body tenses and they get the tingly sensation.
If that's the case, then let me just, this is gonna be a little bit long-winded, but recently
that was earlier on. I got much better with how I act under it.
Then I guess maybe marijuana just isn't the drug for you.
It isn't the drug for a lot of people, actually.
Yeah, like, for example, I had a lot of trouble focusing with my classes recently, and I kind of talked to my parents, the people around me, and I went to a doctor, expressed my issues, and I've been put on this medication called Vyvanse that's supposed to help you focus and so forth. But that drug is not necessarily works for everybody. Different people require different drugs, so marijuana might just not be a drug that you're compatible with, and maybe a lot of people aren't compatible with.
Right.
But I think that definitely exists. That there are people that may not be compatible with it. But I also think that the first phase of paranoia, of just all these things that you experience because you are experiencing life from a slightly altered point of view, there's a lot of things that come with that, and I think that makes you paranoid. I don't even know, not paranoid. That makes you not want to experience marijuana again, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not what's the word I just used? Marijuana isn't for you. That could just mean that you have to try it a couple of times just to get a better understanding of it before you shut it down completely.
Here's another thing that I have.
Well, that's just my opinion.
Here's another thing that I have a massive problem with is, again, the pressure to try something that you don't like again and again until you force yourself to like it, because that's what I think it really is. I think it's you forcing yourself to like something. If you don't like, by the way, hypothetically, I've tried it a multitude of times. I've tried it a lot. Every single time, not one has been positive. But Chael Sonnen said it best. He's never had a drop of alcohol in his life. Never had drugs. Will never have it in his life.
Chael Sonnen is a famous UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Now Bellator fighter.
He's never had a drop of alcohol. He's never had any drugs. He'll never have it in his life. Just not for him.
Yeah.
And he stayed very stern on it. With marijuana usage, if you try it a multitude of times and it's not for you, you can probably try it another multitude of times, make yourself go through that excruciating, or not, I wouldn't even say excruciating because it gets easier and easier. You can say
excruciating because that might have been your experience.
Yeah, it might have been.
For some people, it might just be excruciating.
No, the reason why I say is because in the beginning it's excruciating. As you use it more and more, you get used to it, and then you're able to better handle it, so it gets less and less painful, and then it might turn around and become enjoyable, but you're still forcing yourself through all that to force yourself to like it, so you can fit. I'm guessing most of the times, so you can fit societal norms, so you can hang out with your friends and smoke a blunt. So you can ask your friend when he asks you, "Hey, do you smoke?" and you say, "Yeah," and you don't freak out with it, or when you're in front of them, or when you're around them, or in their vicinity. I think it's the social aspect, the coolness. That's why I despise it completely, because it's you trying to fit into those societal norms. It's you trying to fit in with people around you. And it's all of a sudden become, I care what other people think. Because people on the surface love to say those words. I don't care what people think, but their actions say completely otherwise. They say completely otherwise. If you force yourself to like something so that you can hang out, you can be more cool under pressure among your friends, or you increase your tolerance so that, when you use it again with your friends, you're able to handle it much better than your friends that took the same amount as you. And that's like something you feel pride about. Like you care what other people think. You truly do. You're working out because next time you see your friends, you want to be able to wear that shirt. You want to be like, look at the gains I've made. Or you want them to acknowledge you. You care what other people think. People care what other people think, and they're afraid to say it. And I think that in itself is what leads to such rampant usage of marijuana, is that pressure.
I think that's the core cause.
I think, yeah, without a doubt. That, and, you wonder, like, well, how did that shape itself in society where people are like, it's cool to have higher tolerance among your friends, or it's cool to smoke weed in front of your friends. I think what started that was a glorification of marijuana. That sparked that new social viewpoint on marijuana. Now it's become socially cool to use marijuana because everyone cares what other people think. But the original cause is the glorification of marijuana in rap culture, in a multitude of facets. But yeah, again, I don't like it. I really don't like it. And another thought that
I think the glorification, all that stuff definitely made it more rampant. Excuse me, man. I'm getting like mad heartburns for some reason, but I think like that definitely
It
made it.
doesn't sound like it. Sounds like gastro like reflux.
Yeah, something
Gastric
like that.
reflux.
I always get that for some reason. Like get
No,
that
I don't
like
think
8
it's-
times a day. Or
you know what
something
happens
ever
if
since
you-
I was a kid.
You know what happens if you get gastric reflux too much, right?
What?
You know, the acid in your stomach pretty much comes up. It tears the lining of your. It tears the lining of your like esophagus.
This really might be something I have to go to like a hospital for, like a doctor for, because this is something
I'll
I've
probably
actually
just get it
experienced for,
checked
like
out.
my whole time, like my whole.
You know,
like,
my
whole
dad has
life.
bad gastric reflux. It
I
could
think
be
it's
very
something
bad.
to do with like Ethiopian food and eating spicy food or something.
No, I honestly do think it plays a massive role. I mean, if most people that don't know,
Like
the listeners that don't know,
my
Jeddah-
sisters and stuff, like they both have the same thing. Like
yeah, in Jeddah, I don't eat it. I don't eat it at
Really?
all when I go home. Yeah, I rarely eat it. Most of the time I eat out and get the salt from fast food. But what I'm trying to say is, in Jeddah has a lot of salt. It's just a tremendous amount of salt and grease. Like Habesha families, man, if you ever seen them cook, like they'll cook a pot and they'll just like get the sea salt, table salt, fill up their hand and throw that thing in there. That's why it tastes so delicious. Like when you eat in Jeddah, it tastes so delicious and it tastes so rich because it's filled with salt. If you have any food that has a lot of salt in it, it will taste delicious, like ridiculously good.
But to get back to the whole drug and marijuana and all that stuff, I think I kind of disagree with the whole
I
like
think most
taking it
people do.
multiple times and so forth, because there's some stuff that you just have to go into with the proper mindset, and I think hallucinogens are very are ones that fit in that category. Like, so you have to go into it with a proper mindset. You can't go to it with a negative mindset or thinking about something like that. Like, let me give you a quick example. Hallucinogens, like marijuana, by the way, is a hallucinogen. It's a super mild hallucinogen, but it is a hallucinogen.
It can get
hypothetically, at some point, I had taken acid before. And this was a horrible, scary experience where I thought I was gonna die. I had to run out of an apartment because I thought my friends were trying to kill me. All this crazy thing. But another time, I've also taken another hallucinogen, but this time it was with 3 of my friends. I had kind of had a prior experience with a hallucinogen, and one problem with hallucinogens is the concept of time kind of evaporates. You feel like you're stuck.
Yeah. A lot of people that take marijuana experience that.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
You feel like you're stuck in a horrible position, and it feels like you're going to be stuck in that position for a lifetime, and there's no way you can get out of this. And that kind of comes from the thought process that you want to control everything. You want to, whatever you're experiencing, you want it to be within your understanding and your control. When marijuana, or not marijuana, most hallucinogens usually aren't like that. They make you experience something that's out of your control, and that's something probably you don't want to experience. And one thing I've realized with a lot of hallucinogens is you can't be in the driver's seat when you're experiencing it. You have to learn to sit in the passenger seat, come and experience everything that comes at you.
This is such hypothetical speech. How do you do that? What do? You just slap your brain and you're like, here, let me slap my skull and let me get this all together. Like, what? This is such hypothetical.
When you're experiencing something,
you know what it sounds like? What you're talking about? It sounds like you're talking about lucid dreaming. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're talking about lucid dreaming.
Let me finish.
How the heck do you do that?
when it's a relaxation, an understanding, a mindset going into it, knowing that whatever you're gonna experience, you're just gonna let it be. You're gonna experience it and know that in time that this experience is gonna be over. Know that regardless of how stuck or how negative a moment might be, it's gonna pass away.
Yeah,
and
but
when you have that understanding,
that's easier said than done.
It's easier said and done. It's easier said and done when you do it for the 4th time versus the first time, because the first time you have no prior experience. You don't know.
You're forcing yourself to be in a submissive, like all-knowing state. It's like kind of like yeah. When you're taking these, I
I don't want to put it down to marijuana because I don't know if marijuana it's a very weak hallucinogen. But
For
like
you,
some of these other
for some people, it's those
that's
the thing
true
that
too.
you literally
That's true
just
too.
described.
Some people, the first time they take marijuana, and like actually not even some people, all people, most people, the first time you smoke marijuana, your body has zero tolerance to it because your body has no prior experience. So whatever, even if it's a small amount, you're gonna trip your balls off. You're gonna go freaking crazy. You're gonna go.
It's like edible for some even experienced
edibles
people.
Are another level.
Yeah, it's like edibles for experienced people.
Do you know you know about like Joey Diaz and all the edibles, right?
Yeah.
I want to kind of experiment with those and like a
The
proper
stars?
like dosage, like when you eat cereal, for example.
The stars are 500 mg, right?
Like, that's what I mean. Like when you eat like a bowl of cereal, on the side of the cereal, it's just like one serving or whatever, right? Like a cup of cereal and a cup of milk. And like for marijuana, in like states that have legalized it, 20 milligrams is like the proper dosage for one person.
Yeah.
This dude Joey Diaz is taking 500 milligrams. I want to.
He's not taking 500. He's taking multiple 500.
He's taking like
probably
2,000,
above
something stupid like that.
Yeah.
I want to experience that. I want to see what that's like.
He said that
I feel like that's like shrooms plus acid plus everything else.
You gotta be brain dead. Like your brain cells must be just like dead at that point. But he said that he woke up sometimes in the middle of the night having like a horrible panic attack, or he's like his whole shirt is like just beaded in sweat, and he's like struggling to breathe because of the high dosage. But he freaking likes it, bruh. Like some people, I feel like some people also that like marijuana, and they always want to get to that point when they first took it, even though the first time they took it, they tripped balls and like they went crazy. I think some of those people are just like have like a natural inclination for like masochism, bro. Like they're like sadomasochists almost. Like they enjoy pain. They enjoy that freak out state. Like they like it. Some people,
they get past that point of not being
that
comfortable, and they actually like being in that position now.
And I don't know why. Like maybe it makes them feel alive, or maybe they're just how they're born. Their chemical makeup is just naturally inclined towards like adrenaline. Like that's why I think like people like that, they don't need to rely on drugs. Like there's things out there currently in the world that can feed that for them. If they like that sense of rush, be an adrenaline junkie, be a cliff diver. But you know, say engage in these hobbies.
Let me ask you, like you say meditation and all this stuff, but why not marijuana? You know, it's not causing them any negative harm.
The reason why, it is. The reason why I'm saying,
not here's when he's eating vitamins and so forth.
Well, the reason why I say meditation is because people use marijuana to meditate. That's why I say that. So marijuana is a sense of meditation for them, but they can cut that all out together and meditate. So, but if you're using marijuana as a sense of meditation, well, now you're introducing, smoke to your lungs. You're with all the negative,
because of
however little negative things that are associated with marijuana at this point, because we don't know much about it, there's still negative things, as opposed to cutting that all out together and doing meditation by itself. Like why do you need that dependency on
if they were to do some kind of scientific research on the effects of marijuana and the negative side effects and all that stuff, that they wouldn't put, oh, you're inhaling the smoke, like, because the reason we're inhaling smoke right now is because it's legal. We're just talking about marijuana, its effect, the THC and the CBD and its effects on humans.
There's still negative.
There's gonna be side effects, but there's side effects from putting deodorant on.
No, but I'm saying you're making it sound just as minor side effects as that. Like no. Marijuana has much
side effects. I really don't know, actually.
I don't know if this is true. Again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If my sources are wrong. I'm completely talking out of my ass. But I've read that marijuana usage has been linked to hypertension,
memory fading.
Yeah, memory, short-term memory loss. It's been linked to decreased motor functions. Not as decreased as alcohol, but it's been linked to that. It's been linked to continual increased usage can be linked to a depression or something like that. There's a slew.
This is like none of the stuff that we're saying. At least At
We
least
don't know for 100%
yeah,
certainty.
we're not like sure if this is like 100% scientific
Yeah,
facts.
because marijuana is a very scientific.
Remember, you are on the research not required podcast.
Yeah, but there, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to conclude is there are a slew of negative side effects, and that can be cut out altogether, by just meditating directly. Like, you can decrease that instead of building this dependency and addiction on a drug, because that's what it is. It's a drug.
It is a drug, but I'm sure some people you take Advil.
No, I don't take Advil at all. I don't take drugs, period. Like anything. If I get severely sick, I won't take drugs.
Yeah.
Like I had upper respiratory infection, and apparently if it gets bad and it goes untreated, you could potentially die from it. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna stick it through. Yeah, okay. I got balls of steel, so I'm trying to say. But seriously, though,
it's cool. It's cool when I see people like you too, though. There's a fighter called Joe Lozon, and he's kind of the same mindset where he tries not to take anything, Advil, nothing, just roughs through all of it, and they think that's cool too.
Sometimes I've had some bad headaches.
I think you should adopt a similar mindset.
It's not because I don't want to, though. Like I've taken so when I had my wisdom teeth removed, they prescribed me some drug. I took it like twice, and I threw it up, and I was like, I'm freaking taking this shit. I just flushed it all down the toilet. But they're like, oh, well, your pericarditis, if you don't take it, it could get affected. I was like, I'm not taking this crap, bro. Like, I threw up on it and it's been making me feel a bit dizzy. Screw it. I just flush it down the toilet. Like, I took NyQuil one time for my first time in years. Like, I've only taken Dayquil, like, because when I was in boarding school, they gave it to me as a kid when I got sick. I didn't need it, but I was forced to take it. But this is when I was very little, and I've only taken a little bit amount, like maybe like 3 times out of the year, every like 2 years or something like that, or whatever. But anyway, I took NyQuil recently. That thing had such a massive effect on me.
Did it make you sleepy?
Man, it made me more than sleepy. It made me sedated. It made me feel like I just drunk like half a bottle of vodka, and I was like, like I'm folding my laundry. Then
and you say you don't do any drugs, but you still drink alcohol, don't you? Would you say that's a drug?
Yeah, but I haven't drunken it in months. Like I haven't drunken it since the beginning of this semester. Hypothetically, by the way.
Hypothetically.
By the way, if you're under the age, please do not consume alcohol. But yeah, I haven't drunken it. I have hypothetically not drunken it in a long time. But I probably will stop drinking altogether.
Yeah, we listed all of this stuff, talked about we like to, here on the R.N.R podcast, we like to talk about everything, but we don't advocate any drug, alcohol, anything that's illegal.
Always do it.
And we personally ourselves would never do that either,
Yeah.
Just like talking about hypotheticals. But before we start wrapping up and stuff, I kind of want to touch back on a point we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me. We're talking about school shootings and how ways we can prevent it, and we're talking about stronger restrictions in order to carry firearms.
Yeah.
And our co-host, Mr. Anonymous, he mentioned that the R.N.R is intentionally preventing stronger restrictions, not illegalization of specific drugs like assault rifles or anything, but just stronger restrictions in order to prevent the guns falling to the wrong hands. Huh?
They're pro-gun.
They are pro-guns. They are against putting more restrictions. Like they don't.
There you go.
Yeah?
You're saying the opposite.
Oh, okay. My bad. What I meant to say is they're against putting more restrictions. Like so, for example, less mentally disabled people can get their hands on it. If someone's on medication,
they don't want that. They just want less restrictions on guns, so they can have people that are of sound mindset can have access to those guns. Because
But they want that. But people with mental conditions are still able to purchase guns at this time. And I'm saying that, and a lot of people are saying that we should prevent that. We should put more rules in place, more restrictions, so people who may not be in the proper mindset can't get guns. But the NRA is against that, and it kind of blew my mind when he said that, because he laid it out. He said because that would mean less money in their pockets, so they're literally prioritizing money in they're prioritizing money in their pockets over.
It's not only that.
Over people dying.
No, it's not only that. You can't pay it in that way because
How do you paint it then?
Because they might look at it as, again, like the viewpoint that I mentioned last time. If more people had more access to guns, there'll be less crime because the perpetrators or the criminals will be potentially harmed. Like, you can't commit a crime with armed robbery if everyone's armed. You know, so they might think that the solution for this problem is to increase guns in schools, maybe have teachers have access to guns, or increase law enforcement to have access to guns.
But I'm speaking specifically on mentally not mentally disabled, but like mentally incapable, like people who shouldn't have guns in their hands.
And NRA is not for that.
I don't think they're for it publicly, but I'm kind of coming from it.
They're not from it from closet. See, now you're painting it in a negative way, because
I think so. This is crazy.
Seems like you're taking a very biased position.
Why isn't it 100% then? Why isn't 100%? Like, if someone is in any way on medication, or if they're
on it 100%, they're on it. They don't want any.
Not what they don't want. What's actually happening? Someone who's on medication, on some form of depressants, on anything, can still go into a firearms store and purchase guns in most of the states.
Just because they're on depressants doesn't mean they're not of sound mind.
I don't know.
And you see, that's
a
where
discussion
it gets,
that
exactly.
we need to have.
Exactly. That's where it gets convoluted and complex. But
it's putting them in an altered state.
It's not right to paint the NRA as people that value money and guns over the lives of people, because that's just, come on, that's like a slaughter fest. That's such a negative portrayal. And it's not accurate and it's not true. They have their own. I don't think anybody wants.
No, I should have done
that
more
values
research.
Money over life.
I want to see if they are actually going out of their way in order to prevent instances like that.
That's interesting. We should probably do that on the AB podcast, maybe.
Maybe, dude, I'd be down. That's something I would actually find interesting. And AB, he means Aqua Black Podcast. Let me shout it out.
Yeah, for the listeners that don't know, you can check out my podcast on youtube.com. That's youtube.com/aquablack, AQUABLACK. Make sure you follow me on Instagram.
Follow on Instagram.
At MJ.
Go ahead, bro.
At MJ_slam. Keep, stay tuned to R&R. Said the different social media outlets on.
To keep checking us out, R.N.R. podcast. Give while you're watching this video, actually, go ahead, scroll down since you listened to the whole thing. Give it a like and a favorite. We'd really appreciate it. Helps us grow. And
look in the description below for links to my channel, as well as other social media outlets. And stay tuned. Keep staying tuned.
All right. See you guys.
Peace.
That was it. Oh shit, the mic was off the whole time. I'm kidding. That would be funny though.